So you're in the same city
No,
with Kenneth.
no. That's Jenny.
Oh, you're not in Austin?
No, I'm in Arizona.
Oh, Arizona. Where in Arizona?
Uh, Tempe,
Tempe.
suburb of Phoenix.
Right.
I do need to go see Kenneth, though. I have relatives back that way and acquaintances, but I'm just become a stay home. That we've been having our bathroom remodeled. It was 5 to 6 weeks. Uh, Started in October. Uh, didn't quite get it done in January. you know,
Yeah.
they've still got some minor things to do. Next time, I'm just going to buy another house and move if I have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I gather that Kenneth is still moving books out of his old house in Duncanville.
Oh yeah, yeah. I,
He and Angela will be at that for years.
well, there were so many,
It
so many books. Duncanville was like
was a
well,
labyrinth.
it's elaborate. Yeah, there was about a 18-inch path.
I remember it well. I only visited him the one time, but it only takes the once to make the impression. It's like I thought I had a lot of books, but I was proved incorrect.
No, he has an order of magnitude or more books than I do.
Yeah.
And his house in Austin is large. I think he got quite a good deal. It was one of the sort of McMansions.
Was
Uh,
it?
that's about what I don't know, 4,000 square feet on or so.
That's not kidding around.
And yeah, it's not, but it's the big subdivision, big for a subdivision home,
Yeah.
but they're on fairly small lots.
Right.
But he
Right.
got it, I think, during one of the housing crashes.
Ah.
And I've been there a few times, but the first time I was there, he hadn't gotten all the books from Duncanville, or he hadn't even gotten a lot of them.
Yeah.
And my wife and we actually had a bedroom. He said, "You can stay here. We have a bedroom." Now, I dare say I wouldn't plan on that now. He's had
Sure. More
years,
time. More time to move books over. Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and as every time I've talked to him like that, he gets a cardboard box and he just keeps, and you
Lobbing
need to
things
read
into it.
this, and you need to read this, and you need to
Yes.
read this,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
the box fills up, and
Have a box of books, Donald.
well,
And after the box has been removed, the labyrinth looks equally full as it did
yeah,
before
yeah,
he gave you the
you
box of
have
books.
not dented it. I mean, he
No
has.
evidence at all.
I don't know. I have about 1,200 books. I own about 1,200 books or so. Not, and
That's
philo-
restraint.
philosophy, science, history, things, you know, what I think is a pretty good collection for
Yeah, right?
modernity.
Curse,
And
I
then
could
he
say.
must have 10 to 15,000 books. I don't
I got 12,000.
know, you know,
He's a library. That's what he is.
he is. And you know, and I've taught, you know, he'll say that, I mean, he'll have multiple copies of almost any title.
Yeah,
And the
yeah,
idea is, you know, it's like a pension or social security or something. Yes, so many of those books are not books that he's personally interested in keeping for himself.
yeah,
They're there to be sold. And
yeah.
so he can sell books every month for years, you know.
And it would still, the house would still look as full of books as it does now.
Right. Well, he used to come and stay with us when he would go to San Diego to Comic-Con,
Yeah,
where David, I think, said he met him.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
And he would come here, he would get here, he would tour all the bookstores in Tucson, then drive here to Phoenix, which is about another 2 hours or so.
Yes,
And then we would have dinner. And then the next day, I would chauffeur them around they would have a list of bookstores they wanted to visit in the Phoenix area. And
yes,
then they would drive on to San Diego the day. And it was just so he acquired all those books by mostly finding them in used bookstores.
yeah.
I mean, I don't know that he's ever been to a new bookstore.
He
I
just
mean,
hunts for the cheap deals. And
you
it's
know,
great. His philosophy in America, right? They're all cheap deals. No, nobody wants their philosophy books.
right, right. You know, and I don't know if I think it gets a little harder every year to find the books because used bookstores just won't even buy them.
They're like, they can't sell them.
Yeah, I don't. So, but it is phenomenal, and I keep thinking I've got to drive back that way, and I know I know it'll cost another 30 books or so.
Might as well set the shelves aside now before you head over.
You know, but I mean, there's so many things like uh, it's hard to imagine from in my mind that anybody ever wrote better on the Greeks than
Yeah,
say Gilbert Murray
yeah,
or
yeah.
M.I. Finley something. There's some later scholar. There's more archaeological stuff that's found. They find more steles and they
Hmm. Hmm.
translate more inscriptions and stuff like that, but they don't get interpreted by classicists like that existed.
No, universities have
You know,
largely purged their classics departments.
right, right.
It's
You
all got
know,
to
it's
be practical now, like the Romans, right? It's like, show me how you're going to make money for the corporate donors, or we're going to fire you.
right, right. It's like, well, that reminds me, my advisor when I was getting my studying computer science in my middle age there or old age, he was like, you know, he wanted me to go ahead. He ended up dying, so I couldn't have done it. Going ahead for a doctorate. But he
Yeah,
says, you know, you want to get on a tenure track position. He says, show you can bring in at the time $400,000 a year in grant money.
right.
If you can, I mean, he says, you can be tenure track. He says, you know, it's yeah.
Everything,
I mean, all this
everything comes
stuff
back to the
about
market.
trying the subjective things that taste that Kenneth talks about, judgment of
Hmm.
trying to decide whose research is really valuable.
Right.
who's who's making the bigger contribution? That's
Right.
all subjective.
Objective.
Who
Yes.
what is objective is how many dollars do they
Yes.
attract?
Dollars are objective. Right and wrong is subjective.
Right. Yeah, and in the classics, you know, to me, there's just I don't know. I was reading something the other day, gosh, and they quoted Aristotle, and by golly, they had right in the middle of the quote, they had, they used practical wisdom. We need,
Yes, there it is.
and I'm
There
going,
it is.
oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh, I would like to. I should go look up the Greek for this and find out.
Ophrosune or phronesis or something. They
So, yeah,
brutalized some ancient
just
term.
what is this? You know, yeah.
Yes.
So and I'm afraid that you know myself would have a very harsh judgment as I try to temper it, but a great deal of like Platonic scholarship doesn't you shouldn't call it scholarship. It's just
Right.
crap. And
Right.
I'm sure any other classic, you know, they've just missed. They can't, and I'm not to say I can, but it's like you read something and they've never even tried to think their way into a Greek mindset
Right.
to try and see. And I'm not saying I can do that,
But
but
they
I
don't even
think
have
I
the
can
idea of it.
detect when I'm in the presence of an author
That's right.
who has made the effort to do it.
That's right. Yeah, you pick up Murray or Cornford or Harrison, and
Oh,
you're just struck immediately by how different it is from the way the classics are written today. You know, they dive right into the heart of this stuff. It's incredible. Um, it's
you know,
almost confusing. It's disorienting to be confronted with actual scholarship. You know, genuine, insightful thinking. You know, where they try to get into the mindset is so alien. It's a breath of fresh air that's at first kind of shocking. It's like, what am I feeling here?
right.
Yeah. So, in preparation for today's session, I guess since we're now live streaming and recording, why don't we go ahead and officially kick off?